Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Clayton Chapman. I am back. I am back. Back in the Admiral District studio today after about a 6-week stint of traveling through the western sandhills and the rainwater basin of Nebraska, doing all sorts of outdoor cooking over open fire and cast iron. So it feels really good to be back in the studio, and in an effort to continue on with the trend of the outdoor cooking and the open fire, we're going to do all of our prep inside today, and then we're going to head outside to the newly renovated outdoor fire pit, which I couldn't be more excited to cook over. So breakfast is one of my favorite meals. So as a restaurant chef, I typically eat most of my meals at night, post-service, when the restaurant closes down, but really my favorite meal of the day is breakfast. And by breakfast, I mean like late morning, early afternoon brunch, especially on a lazy Sunday afternoon. Today I'm gonna make my version of eggs in a hole. And instead of using bread, where that is like typically used, I'm gonna make hash browns. And I think that it's like the perfect blend of like crispy potato, your over easy egg, a little bit of fresh cheese, bacon, onions, and then I have some house-made pickled serrano chilies that are like nice and spicy. Covers all my bases and it's just delicious. So I really like to start with a waxy or a starchy potato, because as we peel these, and then I'm going to squeeze out a lot of the excess liquid, that starch in the potato and that waxiness just really helps it bind together, so that when we form our hash browns and we push them into the cast iron, that starch and that wax just helps everything hold together. So we're just going to give these a quick peel. So when I make these, I like to account for about a potato per person, give or take, depending on the size of them. These are like half-pound potatoes, so I feel like that's a good measure to go by. 1 white onion. And rather than dicing this, I'm gonna run this on the grater as well. And that's gonna pull out a ton of water from the onion. And so that we can squeeze that out so that we can get the potatoes crispy, but it's also going to ensure that there's a little bit of onion in every bite of the potato. Box grater here. It's about as exciting as watching me cut apples, isn't it? Onion's making me cry a little bit. Just so happy to be here. Okay. All right, potatoes, onions, in a towel or linen. You can just look at all this liquid coming out of these. The grater just pulls it all out. Isn't that wild? Water comes out of there. Ugh, making me cry. All right. Look at that. It's crazy. We'll go back into a bowl here. I'm gonna go in with 1 egg. Healthy pinch of salt. Potatoes love salt. They just soak it up. Fresh cracked black pepper. I just want to mince a few of these serranos. So depending on how spicy you like it, you can take the seeds out, you can leave them in. It's going to be spicier with the seeds left in. I like the heat, and I feel like the potatoes hold up well to it. And a little bit will go a long way with these. I don't add too many. And what's great about that is the potatoes are going to get crispy as they sear, and the onions are going to caramelize a little bit. Peppers in. Like to put a little splash of that pickling liquid in there with them. Kind of chop this all together, fold that egg in. All right, and just a pinch of flour, just to help bind this all together. I don't want too much flour, it kind of becomes too starchy. You don't have to be afraid. Get in here with your hands, mix it up. See, I squeezed all that water out. Still hear that moisture as I squeeze this together. So, essentially what we're gonna do is I have these cast irons. I'm gonna chop some slab bacon into little lardons, and we'll render that out in each pan. I'm gonna remove the bacon, save the chopped bits to go on the top. And then I have these hash brown patties that I'm gonna push into the bottom of the pan, slide in a little bit of butter. We're gonna cook till crispy. Then I'm gonna cut them out with a ring cutter, crack in our eggs, and away we go. All right, let's go in with our bacon. Smells good. Smells like firewood and bacon. I'm going with just a little bit fresh butter here. All right, I'm gonna go in with my hash brown mixture. Once I go in with the potatoes, I like to smash them down just to get out any excess liquid that may be in them. And that's gonna push it all the way to the bottom so that in a perfect world it steams out. Sure is pretty. The animal lard, or the bacon fat, raises my smoke point of my butter so that my butter doesn't burn. And the foaming butter really allows the potatoes to get like completely crispy. It helps caramelize the onions. The water and the butter help soften the onions as they're caramelizing. A really easy way to flip hash browns, and something that I love to do, is just to take a plate. I'm gonna put it over my pan here. And I like to use a plate that has a little lip on it so it can catch the fat so I don't lose all of that. I'm gonna go over it like so. Flip. Pan can go right back on the heat, and this can get slid right back in. Let's go 2 for 2. Oh, that one's hot. So potatoes are so starchy that's why I love to add so much salt and pepper to them, because they just absorb that seasoning. But as they cook, they also absorb a little bit of this fat. So I'm just gonna slide a little bit of butter in here. It's gonna come down around the sides of the pan, really help crisp the bottom. That makes me so happy. Yeah, so this process is really rewarding for me because it's really about it's about controlling your heat. That this is so easily replicatable in a home kitchen, right? Medium, high heat, sear your potatoes, flip onto your plate, slide back into the pan, crisp the bottom. You can even pop this in a 350-degree oven for a few minutes to help crisp all the way through. But I love doing this sort of cooking over open fire because, it's about being outside. I love to be outdoors. I love to, you have to control and manipulate the heat as you're cooking. And every fire is different. Every fire has a different hot spot. The hot spot changes as the logs change and as the fire gets bigger or smaller. It just really keeps you engaged, it keeps you involved, it keeps you connected to what you're doing. It's just such a rewarding process. So as I'm doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put a little bit of weight back on the potatoes just to make sure if there's any excess moisture running throughout the hash brown itself, that I push it back to the bottom and help crisp the bottom of those potatoes up. Oh, they are perfect. Okay, so I'm ready to punch out my center here. My potato is completely crispy, top and bottom. A little bit of moisture left in the middle. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna take my ring cutter, punch out my center here. Boom. Give it a crack. Pinch of salt. Pepper. And go back to the heat. So in a perfect world, the top and the bottom is perfectly crispy. It's crispy throughout with a barely molten center. My white is set. My yolk still has a little bit of jiggle to it. Crack my yolk and eat. And the spiciness from the pickled serranos. And got the creaminess from the yolk and the cheese and the white. I love this for breakfast or really any meal. It's just so much more satisfying to cook it over open fire, being outside. I mean, it's raining on me right now, and I don't really care. It just feels good. Something to keep you warm. This is delicious. Breakfast is my favorite meal to cook. Realistically, it's my favorite meal to eat, whether it be in the morning or at night after a late shift. And this version of egg in a hole, it combines all of my favorite things for breakfast. You know, I love hash browns, just like I love French fries. The combination of the potato, the bacon, the egg, the cheese, the chilies in replace of hot sauce. I mean, it's a one-pot meal breakfast of all of my favorite things. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. I seem to have beat the snow, but caught in the rain. I'm gonna take this egg in a hole inside. We're gonna share it. It's gonna be delicious. If you're really enjoying this cooking over open fire series that we've been doing, you know, please post in the comments below. Let us know some of the things that you like to make over open fire, or some of the things that you would like to see me make over open fire, because I'd love to give it a whirl. So thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. We've got some more great content coming your way soon. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in today. If you're enjoying our series, please feel free to hit subscribe below so you can be the first in the loop to join us each week as we release new content. Is that enough?
If you're happy with it.